So, as I struggled to come up with a thesis to present in this video, I understood that my knowledge is somewhat limited and that there's a lot yet that I haven't figured out yet. And I didn't really feel comfortable creating an assertion or making a claim to know something when my own relative experience was limited. So I decided to try to come up with something that would allow me to explore the topic a bit more. And As I generally like to hybridize theories that I can, or try to unify and make sure everyone stops fighting. Um, to come up with something that would allow me to do that. And there are several large questions in the debate that I felt would be good places to start to meditate on. And the one that I chose was whether or not conceptualization requires reflection. I found that one important because, well, first of all, if conceptualization does require reflection, that pretty much gives the argument to Dreyfus, especially with his position on intuition being a non-reflective uh, feature. The significant amount of evidence that from everywhere from, as he uses, chess grandmasters to have trouble reporting or claiming that they were actively thinking about their moves when playing lightning chess. So I spent a good long time also while trying to come up with things to say on this video um, on just trying things, little everyday actions, or just paying attention to what I do. Typing sentences with my eyes closed, my eyes open, carefully picking out each letter consciously before typing it, just kind of see what happened. I mean, the results were that when I tried to consciously think about typing, I made more mistakes than even when I was typing with my eyes closed. So that provided some strong evidence for Dreyfus. But at the same time, I found that while I was performing these actions automatically, they weren't just happening and I wasn't just observing them happen. I was presently aware of myself typing the words. And while I was typing in my head consciously, I was sounding out or speaking mentally, or in my head. We read about that too. I was speaking in my mind the sentence I was typing. So what that told me, and that's what maybe I'm thinking now, and later I might disprove, prove, or hybridize yet again, that there are three levels in something that I quickly named the skill continuum. Take it for what it's worth. And this continuum comes in three parts. The initial part is pretty much Dreyfus's intuition or expert bodily coping, in that it is actions performed without the need for reflection. They happen because they've been trained to. It's the way I can. I was going to try to catch the quarter, and I've been doing it successfully for a while now. But I don't have to think about catching the quarter. I just reach out and grab it out of the air. The middle area I developed is this conceptualization zone without reflection. This is where I figured to be awareness, and just being aware of the actions while you're performing it. Also, the thought occurred to me that this could also be the area where disposition might hang out. Physical term for a non-material concept. And I think this one is important because this is the gray area. This is essentially the battlefield on which you can draw lines and maneuver without claiming territory obviously occupied by one side or the other. And on the other end of the spectrum is reflection, rationalization, problem solving. This is the active thought. This is where you incorporate new rules and understanding and reflection. Why did I do that? What just happened? What went wrong? What went right? Things like that. And so essentially what I think this will allow us to do is, give and take, just allow me to explore the topic a little bit more without splitting hairs right away. Kind of a bit of a blank slate, I suppose. I try to come up with some examples of thought examples of how this might work. A couple of them involved fencing, of course, but like a fencer could be intuitively know where the tip of his sword is. It's not something he can tell you or really give an explanation for, but the fencer knows where that tip is, and all he has to do is try to hit his opponent with it. But he does make choices as where to aim it. And this is McDowell. He's aware, and he gives the order, hit, try to hit, and the expert action takes over and drives the sword towards wherever he intended for him to hit. Let's see here. A volleyball player can intuitively know how much force is needed to perform a serve. We saw today what happens when you either overestimate or underestimate the power of power needed for a serve. A baseball player can intuitively throw a ball accurately and with the appropriate force for the desired result. However, the baseball player does choose which pitch to throw and is, I would say, most certainly aware of the movement as he is performing the pitch, even though that awareness isn't necessarily reflective and therefore won't interfere with the expert bodily action. Let's see. I think one of the main problems I have with, let's say, Dreyfus at this point is that I think he underestimates the, and this could just be lack of knowledge, but I think from what I've read so far that he underestimates how quick and how tag team this three-part feature, this three-part skill continuum is. That they don't necessarily intrude upon one another's domain, but I think they do interact, or they do all contribute to the action, and they each have their own domains that make expert action possible. I think one of the best examples might be that of a surgeon. It is something that requires a high level expertise, but also because the stakes are so high, I imagine the reflection involved during much of the surgery is very important to keeping the patient safe. Similar to the so that making a decision, the surgeon might figure out that he's cutting not deeply enough into skin. Therefore, he becomes aware of that, maybe through intuition, maybe just through observation. The skin's not parted. So what he then does is then he adjusts. He makes the decision to cut deeper, in which the expert action takes over. And actually, cuts deeper, but but the expert action is skilled enough that it knows that allows him to cut just deep enough to achieve his goal. So, like I said, there's a lot of questions I still have about this, and exactly whether or not this conceptualization without reflection zone I'm thinking of is valid or not. But I think I'm set up in a relatively good position to find out. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope I didn't ramble too much, but see you on the other side.